Hi everyone, Hat Robin here, going after Uragaan with the lance. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. And we're thrust right into it. Try and get away from him just so I can prep. Maybe if I can grab some footprints or tracks. Doesn't look like I can though. That's okay. Gotta grab those stones. Always want to start off with a good old wall bang. I'm really glad that he backed up there because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get the wall bang. Do I get it? I still don't get it. He's just a little too far. That's okay. Go back to the head, weaken it, especially as the lance. I'm going to be up at the head a lot anyway, so... And immediately I go to the body. That's okay. That's probably a good move to learn to get the offensive guard active. Love the shock traps. It's always good. That was me just trying to not get tremored, because if you get tremored by that, that lasts a very long time. Oof. Still got hit by the explosion. This would probably be a good matchup to have blast resistance, as well as fireproof mantle. I can't remember if I packed that. Might not be the best move to do that attack on, because that took out pretty much the entirety of my health in one move. Since I've got a ledge, get a mount. With the lance, if you're on a ledge, lance is actually surprisingly versatile in trying to get mounts, because you can always jump when you're dashing. There's no reason to not try and go for a mount. Yeah. Plus, with its defensive capabilities, it's nice to be able to consistently get mounts without having to rely on the environment, but when you can, you might as well. It's a shame I wasn't able to get the finishing move. Fun fact about Uragaan and Radabon, when they topple over, you can mine materials off of their backs. I recommend doing so, especially if you're farming the monster. Yeah, in one topple you don't get quite as much damage as you would normally do if you were just straight up attacking, but you get parts. Oh, that's a shame. That is an absolute shame. It's okay. We got one tail break. The Uragaan tail breaks in 2 stages. Now, right there, you saw me messing up with the radial menu. I'm gonna change that setting soon. I thought it'd be a good idea to have the mantles on a different page of the radial menu, but navigating that can just be really difficult. So it's important to have the most used items on the top default radial menu. That was a fun way to learn that in that specific spot you won't get hit when he does the roll move. Shame to get clipped by the tail at the end there. Ugh. Just barely. Still going after the tail, not weakening it though. Probably not the best move on my part, especially since it's a master rank monster, which means that it's going to get a bloated health, but we still get the tail cut, which means I don't have to focus on the tail anymore. And yes, technically, the head is not that weak of a zone. Ah, lovely stagger. If we had some more slinger ammo, that would work. But yeah, so fun fact about Uragaan, it's his body, it's his tummy that's actually got the weakest hit zone. So softening that is actually going to be the best thing to do if you're just going for overall damage output. But if you're hoping for parts or anything, like I probably will be, since I'm doing Lance, and Uragaan has Guard Up Secret, or I guess just Guard Up. If you get, I think it's 2 or 3 armor pieces, you get Guard Up, and Guard Up, if you don't know, compared to regular Guard Up allows you to block normally unblockable attacks, whereas regular Guard reduces the knockback for attacks. Both are really good to have for Lance. Guard Up is better to have for more like Master Rank Elder Dragons, as they all have ultimates that you can't guard from. Nice to get a stagger. I lose it because of the explosions. And you see the amount of health that took off of me. That is a good indicator to bring a Fireproof Mantle, or through some other means get fire resistance. Fun fact about Fireproof Mantle, it also negates Blast Blight. So any Blast Blight that you would get from the Uragaan, or from like Brachydios, for example, or Brachydios, I think is how it's said, automatically negates it. Now, of course, when it comes to Brachydios, I would recommend getting the armor skill instead, because that's permanent and you can have it the entire hunt rather than temporary on a mantle. But it would still be good to bring that because it lessens the damage of explosions. Oh, shame. I should have done the counter cancel, which is the other move you see me do. Now, see, he's angry, and this is the worst place for him to get angry. Because this is his nest, so it's full of those curved, for lack of a better term, like skateboard walls. They're like half pikes and stuff. Well, he's not skateboarding, he is rolling, and if he starts hitting those walls, he can get really hard to see where he is. Oh, very lucky to get that Clagger and not get hit by this explosion. I go after the head here because this is before I remembered that his chest is the weakest spot. But yes, so if he gets rolling in here, he starts rolling against the walls, and he becomes generally a lot more unpredictable as to where he is, and even something like the Lance will get hit, because if you're not doing the Power Guard, you're going to get hit from behind. But he's back to not being enraged. And there's his enrage again. Now we gotta be careful, we've got exploding rocks on literally all sides. We're surrounded, kind of in a circle from there, but luckily his hit does the explosion. Oh, unfortunately, I was too far committed into the counter to where I could not power guard, so I just had to get hit by it. But now that he's angry, I know that he's going to try and spam his rolling around all over the place move. So I'm going to try and lure him to the other side. I think the problem here is I went too quickly, so he just didn't see where I went. Because you see on the little mini-map, he rolled up slightly. I'm sharpening because I'm thinking that he's just going to come back down, and it looks almost like he's about to, but then he just doesn't. And he's just there. He might be doing his rolling attack, judging by how he's going back and forth. Decide to taunt him, but then I'm out of combat. So that tells me that, yeah, while you can 100%, and I highly recommend luring monsters when they're agitated to a new area, one, it'll keep you in the hunt longer because they kind of reset. Oh, that is a shame. That is absolutely a shame. I just happened to go the same speed that he was going down that hill, and it just took me out. So now that he can see me, now that I am in view of him, and that he's in the hallway, he's going to come down. But I highly recommend luring agitated monsters, especially if you can get them agitated when there is another monster in the area. Because yes, you can absolutely use dung pods, but that can not always work, especially because the other monster will flinch them, and when they get flinched, they're less likely to actually leave the area. So, if you have one of them agitated, ideally the one that you are focusing on, you can then just leave the area, and if that one still has line of sight on you, it will follow you out. Oh, I got trapped by the tail. I should have tried to Superman dive, but it's okay. Yeah, and see, if you wait just a couple more frames, then you get locked out into that animation. I was trying to delay the power guard. What's nice about keeping Uragaan in a small place like this... Oh, and we got that slinger capacity, so we move to the head. We just fire it off again. Monsters tend to have a... They try to, when you flinch shot them, they try to move to the closest wall, veering slightly left or right. Of course, unfortunately, sometimes that means that they go in the exact opposite direction that they want you to, or that you want them to, because they think that that's the closest wall, and it isn't. And sometimes you'll just whiff, and that's okay. Hold it, because it's going to explode. Also, am I crazy, or are the exploding rocks bigger for Master Rank than they are for High Rank? I could swear they're bigger. It's a shame that we got the Clagger and the Shock Trap at the same time, because it actually gave me less time to attack. There was nothing I could have done there. I could have maybe held the power guard a little longer. So all in all, I would recommend, if doing a matchup with Uragaan, I would recommend maybe doing Hunting Horn instead of Lance, if you're following on my lead. Yeah, got the trap. Go ahead and get the taunt. Fun taunt with explosions. But yeah, so I would recommend maybe Hunting Horn. The difficulty with this monster and the Lance is that the explosions are coming from behind you as well as the attacks coming from in front of you. So that's a tough one to contend with, especially when you're not super mobile. That's a lot of power guarding that takes time to get into, and if there's multiple ticks, it might mess you up. But anyway, that is Lance versus the Uragaan. If you have any tips or tricks to help improve my lancing or hunts with the Uragaan in general, please let me know. But other than that, I will see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Make sure to drink your water and stretch. Stretching is so important. All right, stay safe.